Alright, so hi, hello, good day. So for this video, okay, we'll be talking about the module 1.1. So this is actually the continuation of the module 1, okay, the one that you guys have watched last time. So this one will start with the string in Python. Okay, so what is a string? So string is a programming object that contains series of character data. In programming, manipulating character data is one of the most useful way to perform solution almost all logical problems. So it is a rare application that doesn't need to manipulate strings, at least to some extent. So we have some types of strings right here. So we will start with string operators. So there are two arithmetic operators that can also be used to string data. So these are the plus and the asterisk or the multiplication operators. So the table below shows the operation we perform in string operands. So, the examples right here are very straightforward. So we have three variables. So A contains a value of I, B contains a value of log, and then C contains a value of CPE. And then we have another statement right here, A plus B. So this plus right here will just simply uh, combine those two characters. So A is I, and then B is love. So we now have an I love. Okay, so without a space. So B plus A is of course love, and then I, so we have love I. C plus A is CPEI, and we have A plus B plus C is I love CPE without space. Now if you want to add space, then you can add that one manually by adding another string, which is an empty space. So A plus this empty string, which is one space, and then plus B, and then plus another string, which is one space, and then plus C. So as a result, we now have a proper sentence of or a proper expression, or a word rather, let's say three word with a space. So a space lab space CP. Okay. You can also do this one, so C plus, and then as you guys can see right here, you can have a space wherein this is a string, so you don't need to add an empty space and then plus and then another string wherein it is my course. You can already do that one as one. Okay, just that is one, the space, and then is my course. So with that, you now have here as the result CPE space is space my space course, or CPE is my course. So if you will not do that one, okay, of course the CPE and then is will be uh, sitting next to each other, okay, where it doesn't have space. For the multiplication, this just simply multiplies or copies the string. So we have an example here. Let's say A is equal to CPE, and then A times 2, of course it will give you CPE. Okay, and you can also do this one, A plus and then space times 2. Of course it will give you a CPE, a space, and then CPE, and then of course another space right here. Okay, so you have to include this one since it's part of this word, or that is expression that is being multiplied. Okay, you have to multiply the entire thing. And then we have A times 3 is of course 3 CPE. The A times 10 is of course 10 CPEs. Okay, so plus is for concatenation or combining strings, and then this asterisk or multiplication symbol is to have a multiple copies, of course, or create multiple copies of the string. So additional operator that can be used in string is the in operator. So this operator returns true if the first operand is contained within the second, and false if otherwise. Okay, so we have an example right here. A has a value of computer engineering, and then S is equal to E. So we have an expression right here where S in A, so meaning you are looking for the value of S in variable A. So what is that value? So it's E. So just simply check one by one. So we have an E right here. So as a result, it will give us a value of true, okay, or as an output of true. Okay. What else? So we have here engineer. Okay, engineer in A. So you can also do this one, straight string, so you don't need to declare a variable and then equate that one into a certain value. So you can just directly put a string by doing this one. So engineer in A, so you must be able to find this exact value or this exact string in this letter A. So we have here engineer. Okay, of course it will give us a result of true. Okay, how about this one? So if you're going to find an x in this A, wherein of course we don't have x, so as a result it will give us a value of false. So as simple as that. So in is just like looking for a certain string or character in that specific or certain variable or string. Okay. So we have the second type of string, which is the built-in string functions. So the following are some of the most commonly used functions in string. So we have CHR or the character, and then ORD or it's just the opposite of the CHR or the character. So it's the ORD, and then len, we have replace, define, okay, and then find. So we will discuss them one by one. So character is just simply having a decimal value or integer value, converting that one into say a certain character. So again, it's an ASCII code character. So last time I showed this one to you guys on what is ASCII. So let's check this one out. So ASCII code is, let's say this one. Give it a second. It's still loading. So 65 is an equivalent of capital letter A. Again, 66 is capital letter B, and so on and so forth. So 65 right here. Where is that one? Let me just look for letter E first. Okay, right here. So for the decimal, okay, my bad, it's not integer, but it's only decimal, okay? So we have decimal, hexadecimal, and then octal, but we don't have integer value right here. Okay, so 65 in decimal, but in character, it's capital letter A. So I do have an example right here. Okay, so I removed the others for now, so I just retain the character. So print character 65, of course, will give us a value of letter A. And say 68 is letter D. Okay, there you go. So if you want to have a, let's say, a value of small alphabets, then you should go right here. So 97 and above is now the starting count of a small letter A and then onwards. So the last one is 122. That is the letter Z. Okay. So that's it for the character. Okay, it converts an integer. So this is incorrect actually. So this is not integer. This one should be decimal. So it converts a decimal n to a character. Okay, again, it's an ASCII code. And then the opposite of this one is the ORD or the ORD. Okay, so this one converts a character C into a decimal value. Okay, so of course the A has an equivalent value of 65. So you can actually do this one, instead of checking the ASCII code, you can have the character value just by doing this one, the ORD, and then what is that character that you want to convert into a decimal. Okay, so let's do that one. So instead of CHR, it's ORD, and let's say I want to know the decimal value of letter X. Oops, it should be in a string. Okay, so it's 88 for capital letter X. But what about if it's small letter x? Okay, so it's 120 for the decimal value. Okay, so what else we can do? Maybe we can check this one, maybe. That one, that bracket, open bracket. So that one is 123. Okay, so you can just try to experiment regarding with this ORD right here. And then next one is len. So this one returns the number of how many characters we have in that specific variable. Okay, so for example, we have this one right here, len, and then computer. Okay, of course, this by counting from starting from letter C up to the letter R will give us a value of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so to test this one out, so it's print len from this string. Okay, again, you can use a single quotation or double quotation, so they are just the same as long as they're consistent. Okay, single quotation on the initial, and then we have an ending single quotation also. So vice versa, if you have a double quotation at the start, then you have to have a double quotation at the end. So I don't know, let's just say random uh, letters, and then let's count how many letters we have in here, or how many characters we have in here. So it's not limited to alphabets only. You can also include numbers. Okay, so we now have a total of 48. So it's also possible to include, let's see, special characters. So anything that is inside, this double quotation right here, or single quotation, will be considered as a string. Okay, regardless of the character of that one, or the type of character. So we now have a total of 69 characters. So that's what this len do, okay, as a function. So we also have this replace, wherein you're going to replace a certain word, okay, into this existing word or a value of a certain string. So this one, create a new string by replacing some parts of n with o. So to test this one out, okay, let's copy that one first. So as Java is good, and then we have here as that replace. Okay, so this is the value that we are going to change, which is the Java, and then the value that we are going to replace. Okay, or this is now the new value. Okay, so instead of Java is good, let's make that one Python is good, because that is the one that we have in here. So we are expecting to have this result right here. So we have to print that one, I guess, yeah, because it doesn't have a value for now. So print. There you go. So there you go. We now have a Python is good. So this is the value that we are trying to change from here. So we can also, of course, change the is. So let's say is, and let's say Java isn't. No, not isn't. Is super good. Okay, so Java is super good. So you can also change the space, I guess. Let's try that one out. Java. I don't know what to put, but sample. Let's just put sample. Okay, Java sample is sample good. So that's what we're expecting. Okay, there you go. So we replace those spaces into a certain text. Okay, so that is the function, or that's how this replace function work. Okay, and then the next one is find. So from the word itself, so this one returns the lowest index in the string where substring s is found. So basically, just going to find what is the or what from what place, okay, is that word, okay, or a character that you're looking for. For example, we have here s is equal to hello world, and then s that find, so you're looking for or. So starting from here, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Okay, so that's the starting number that we were able to find this O, and then followed by R. So as you guys can see, it didn't stop at O because it has to verify that, this is the next one after O is R. So the entire OR must be true for this to return that certain place or also position, okay, or location of that character. Okay, so in here it's located on 7. Okay, so take note that we've started with 0, so not 1, because if it's 1, then this will be 8. Okay, O is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the, or how does this function find keyword. Okay, so again, we've started with 0, not 1. So I think it was also mentioned here. So important, string indexing, or each character in string corresponds with an index, as the first character is index 0 and last character is length minus 1 index. Okay, so you can do, you can do this one. Okay, the length minus 1, which is now equal to the correct number of placement of index. So count first, how many characters we have in here, and then wherever you stop, minus 1 if you're going to start with 1. Okay, but if you're going to start with 0, then you can just simply do that one. Okay, not deducting by 1. Alright, anyway, so to view complete list of string functions, so type help and then string in idle, or visit Python documentation in this link. Okay, so you can do this one in idle to have the complete list of string function, or if you're using PyCharm, then you can just simply click this link right here. So this will give you all the string methods that is available on the Python. Okay, so we have capitalize, it will capitalize everything, center, count, decode, encode, and so on and so forth. So there's quite a lot that is not included in this module. Anyway, that's it for the built-in string functions and the string operators. So let us move on now to the next major topic, which is the conditional statements. So what is this conditional statement? So this is a control structure directs the order of execution of the statements in a program. So this is any program. Is not always in a sequential execution where it performs statements one after another. So sometimes a program needs to skip over some statements, so execute a series of statements repetitively, or choose between alternate sets of statements to execute. Okay, so one way to let the program runs with a defined program flow is to use conditional statements. So these statements are used to lead the order of the execution by giving conditions or criteria that would decide what statement to perform next. So in other words, we can control the flow of data or the flow of the code just by simply applying the conditional statement. So instead of, let's say, from first line followed by second line, third line, if you want to skip the fourth line, we can do that one, okay, just by applying conditional statement. So skip the fourth line and then jump right to, let's say, 10th line. So you can do that one, or 50th line or 100th line. So depending on the structure of your program and then your conditional statement. Okay, so we have the most simplest way of doing a conditional statement, which is this, which is the if statement. So here is the syntax for this one. So if, and then the condition, okay, and then followed down below. Just do take note that it should be on the below, and then with one indentation, okay, because if it's right here, then it might not work properly. Okay, so you have to follow this one. So you have to have an indentation right here, and then statement if this is true. Okay, so expr is just an expression evaluated in a boolean context. This one is used logical operators to create a condition. Okay, and then statement is a valid Python statement which must be indented. Okay, so this is a must. Okay, so you have to indent this one. Okay, so it must be below of that expression, okay, or condition. So if expression is true, then this one evaluates to a value that is true, then statement is executed. If the expression is false, then statement is skipped over and not executed. So you guys will know later on that if you guys will not put indentation right here, it's like you are now moving into the false statement. So this one is the true statement. Not putting indentation will result into a false statement. So even though it's not true, then this will be still executed, okay, or this will be still processed. So just note that the colon, okay, following the expression is required. So some programming, sorry, some programming languages require expression to be enclosed in parentheses, but Python does not need that one. Okay, so we have some examples right here. So if 4 is less than 8, then print yes. Since this one is true, then of course it will give us a value of yes. We have another example right here. So we have num1 is equal to 10 and then num2 is equal to 7. So if num1 is greater or equal to num2, then you have to execute these statements right here. So we have one statement, or let's say the first statement, and then we have another statement. So you can also do this one. So you can have multiple statement if this is true. Okay. Well, either of those, not just if it's only true. But of course, if it's not true, then this will not be executed, regardless of how many statement you have in here. Okay. So since this is true, so num1 is greater than num2, so 10 is greater than 7, then this will be executed. So as a result, num1 plus num2 is equal to 17, so 10 plus 7 is 17, and then this will be just simply printed, so another statement. Okay. So I hope we are now clear with this one, so you can do those. So a single statement or a multiple statement. So another important note, so a multi-line statement in Python IDE needs to hit enter twice to end the conditional statement. So this is true for idle interactive. Okay, so especially if you're using idle, but in PyCharm, so it will give you an error, or it will just simply not end the conditional statement. Okay. So we have another one which is called the compound if statement. So it's still if statement, but we now have two conditions, and then below them is of course a multiple or just a single statement. So an if compound statement allows a program to perform multiple statements if the condition is true, and additional statement to end the execution, which also serves as a statement if the condition is false. Compound if statements are created by creating a block of codes. So we have an important note right here before we proceed to the example. So Python has a different way to define compound statement of a block compared to other programming languages. So it uses indentation, okay, also known as offside ruler or rule technique. So indentation in Python is very significant as curly brackets to Java programming. So in a Python program, contiguous statements that are indented to the same level are considered to be part of the same block. So if they are in the same indent, then again, it's just one block, or considered as the same block or one block. Okay. So we have here the example, which is the multiple statement if true, and then you can just simply skip those multiple statement if if the condition is false. Okay, so again, you can have as many statement as you want. Okay, you can have 100, 200, 300. Okay, but I doubt that you're going to put as 100 statements in your code. But who knows? You might be needing 100 statements. Okay, and then again, those, let's say, 100 statements will be skipped if the condition is false, and then leading you into a single statement. So we have an example, okay, wherein we have num1 and then num2, and then they are asking an input, okay, and then the condition right here is num2 is greater, or if num2 is greater than num1. So if this is true, then this two statement will be executed. Okay, and then similar with this one, this will be still executed. Okay, so it's still part of the true statement. Okay, so as a result, you guys will see right here that, let's say, the first number is 10 and then the second number is 20. So num2 is greater than num1, okay, or the second number is greater than the first number, then this will be executed. So the sum is equal to 30. Okay, and then after that, this will be printed, end of line. However, if it's false, then this will not be printed, these two right here, but this print right here, this print end of line, will be still printed. Why? Because whatever happens, true or false, this will be executed. Okay, so that's the difference if this one doesn't have an indentation or an indent. Okay, So you only have the first number and then the second number and then end of line right away because the statement is false. So it jump right here right away. Okay, so it skip those two statements. So let's proceed now to the another example or other example. So we have here if there in computer, again in is like looking for that specific text or characters in this another string. Okay, so there is true, as you guys can see. So print outer condition is true. Okay, so as a result, of course, this will be printed. And then we have another condition right here. Okay, inside of this condition. Okay, so if 10 is greater than 20, then print conditional is true. So as you guys can see, 10 is not greater than 20, so this will not be executed. Then we have another condition right here. Okay, not condition, a statement. Okay, wherein it doesn't have a indentation or an indent. So print conditional evaluated. So again, regardless of the result of this one, so this will be executed. Okay, so as you guys can see right here, this is false, so this will be skipped and will go right here right away. So print conditional evaluated, so will give us a result of conditional evaluated regardless of the result of this conditional statement. And then we have another conditional statement, which is 10 is less than 20, which is true. Then of course this will be executed and this will be also executed. So again, regardless of the result of this one, so true or false, this will be still printed. Okay, but since this one is true, then we now have this one as part of your output. Okay, and then regardless if they are true or false, you know, these conditions right here, this will be still printed. Okay, now if there is not in this computer, if this is false, then this part right here will not happen at all, or this will just be simply skipped. Okay, and then it will only print one, which is the after outer condition. Okay, so just in case, let's say change this one into let's say x. So x is not part of computer, so it will, this statements right here will not be or you know, will not be processed at all. Okay, it will be skipped and it will jump right away to this print after outer condition. Okay, so the next one is the else, or followed by the if, and then plus, or else elif plus. So this one is to evaluate condition and take one path if it's true, but specify an alternative path if it's not. So use else plus if that is the case. So we have an example right here, or the sample format of this if else elif plus. So we have if and then expression, and then if it's true, then this will be executed. Else, I think it's very straightforward. So else, if this is not true, then this statement will be executed. Okay, on the other hand. So we have an example right here, wherein, okay, so let's go over with this one first because we have a correction with this output, okay, for this true and false. So num1 again is asking input for this number, num2 is asking input which is for the second number. So both should be an integer input, else it will give you an error. So num2 is, let's say, a valid number, and then num1 is a valid number, let's say 20 and then 10. Okay, so first number is 20 and then 10 is for the num2. So if you're going to evaluate this one, so the first one, let's see, okay, this one 20, okay, is not greater than 10. So this one should not be true. Okay, so as a result, I have it right here, so wait a second. Alright, so I think I accidentally deleted that one. Anyway, let's try to recreate everything because this one is incorrect. So int, and then we have an input. So input the first number, alright, or enter the first number. Enter the first number followed by space. So that's it for the num1. And then we also have num2, which is also the same, but this one should be second number. And then we now have here the if condition. So if num2 is greater than num1, Okay, then so as you guys can see, upon clicking the enter, it will automatically indent because it's already expecting us to have the true statement value, okay, or the true statement expression. Okay, so num3 is equal to num1 plus num2 if it's true. Okay, else, okay, so I forgot this one, else num3 is equal to num2 minus num1. Okay, and then print the num3 regardless of the result. Okay, so let's try this one out. So enter the first number is, let's see, what is the first number right here? So it's 10, correct? 20 followed by 10. So as you guys can see, we have here a result of negative 10. Okay, because this one is false, it goes right here, so it's num2 minus num1. Okay, so if it's false, then it will give us a value of negative 10. Okay, it's one right here. So 10 minus 20 is negative 10. While on the other hand, so let's proceed to the true result. So let's see, first number is 10 and then second number is 20. So 20 is greater than number 1, okay, or num1, then this will be true. So it added the num1 and num2. So 10 plus 20 is 30. So this one should be the true result. Okay, anyway, this one is completely incorrect. This one is partially incorrect. So just change this one into 2. Okay, so that is a correction for this example right here. Okay, so to evaluate multiple conditions and specify statements on each condition, use elif clause. Okay, so we have this format or syntax for this additional elif. So if expression is, let's say, true, then this will be executed. Elif, another true expression or true condition, then this will be executed. Another, let's say, true condition, then this will be executed. Okay, so we do this one just in case that we have let's say 3 conditions or 4 conditions. So if one of those is, let's say, true, then the corresponding statement will be executed. Okay, so you can have as many condition as you want. Okay, and then any of those condition became true, then the statement below that will be executed. And then while on the other hand, okay, so let's say else, this one now is the false, or let's say none of those condition are true, then it will give us or it will proceed further to this else code right here, and then this statement will be executed. Okay, so if all the statements above, these true conditions right here are false, then it will end up with this else condition or else statement. Okay, so to make this one, for you to be able to appreciate this one, let's have an actual example. So we have a name is equal to Joey. Okay, let's just find wherever is that Joey is equal to. So it's right here. So the output of this one is hello Joey. Okay, so if, let's say the name right here is, let's say, Den or Denmel. So Denmel is not on this example right here, or this true condition right here. Then it will give as a result of I don't know who you are. Okay, so I would like you guys to try this one out, to change this one into anything that is not on this or the value of the name right here. Okay, so the next one is looping statement. So we have 3 types of looping statement. Before that, a loop is a use for iterating over a set of statements repeatedly from the word itself, loop. Okay, this is loop. So in Python, we have 3 types of loops. So we have the for, the while, and then the do while. So the looping operations in Python works just like any other programming language. So let's start with for loop. So this one initiate the value of variable equal to range current value. So we have this syntax right here. So for followed by the variable and then in, and then range of the object, and then followed by the statement. So what is this variable? So variable is a variable to hold the counter value or the called Java. Okay, and then range object is the counter range, which is used to indicate counting behavior of the loop. So this can be accomplished using the built function range. And then the range function returns a sequence of numbers starting from 0 by default, okay, and incrementing by 1 by default also, okay, and stops before a specified number. Okay, so for you guys to appreciate what is this variable range object and range, we have this example right here. So for x in range and then has a value of 5 and then print x. So initially, of course, it will start with 0 and then will stop once it reaches this value of 5. Okay, or let's just say that it will count, or it will keep on counting 5 times, but you guys have to start with 0. So this example where I will print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 digit per line. So take note that the parameters or parameter 5 doesn't indicate the last digit to display. It indicates how many times to loop. Okay, so actually we can have two approach with this one. You can have this one as your last digit to display, but of course you have to deduct 1. Okay, or you have to start with 0. Okay, or you can just simply as what it is trying to say, that this is not indicate the last digit to display. This one is just a parameter wherein it indicates how many characters or how many times this statement or the condition will loop. Okay, so in this case, it will loop 5 times starting from 0, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is the output of this example right here. Okay, so if we have 10, then it's from 0 to 9. If it's 100, then it's 0 to 99. Okay, so we have another example right here, wherein this example is another from of range function where it accepts 2 integer parameters. So in here, we cannot dictate where to start, but by adding this one, let's see, 3, so you can now indicate where you're going to start. So starting count or start counting 3, and then of course it will end before reaching this 6 right here. So going back here, so the first one indicates when to start the counting, and the second indicates when to stop the looping or not included. So therefore, the output is 3, 4, and then 5. So the starting and then the last, but of course this is not included. Okay, so 3, 4, and then 5. So the next one is another form. So this is the last form of range. Okay, this one, this function right here. So this one accepts 3 integer parameters. So the first 2 parameters are those parameters from the previous form. It's this one. So we have the starting and then the ending. Here are the last number. Well, where is that one? The first 2 are parameters from the previous condition. With additional parameters. This is now the third parameter. So additional parameter that indicates the step. So this is step or the incrementation. So in other words, so let's say starting from 3 by default, of course it will increment by 1, but upon putting here, let's say 2, it will not increment by 2. So we, of course, starting from 3, then we'll move to 5, 7, 9, and so on and so forth. As you guys can see right here, this is the output for this example. So 1 digit per line. So 3, 5, 7 until 19. Alright? So if you're going to change this 1 into 3, then it's now 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Okay? So we have one more, or let's say the second example of loop. We have the while loop. So while loops repeat as long as a certain Boolean condition is met. So this is the syntax for the while loop. So counter initialization, that is the first one, or the initial value. Okay, we're going to start. And then while followed by the condition, and then statement, and then below that is the counter update. So while loop in Python works and processes data exactly how other programming languages does. First step is to initialize counter. From the word itself, counter initialization. So this indicates the start of counting. So use the while keyword followed by the condition or the condition as long as the condition is true. So the program will continuously execute the statement or the statement itself until it becomes false. Lastly, define the update of the counter or counter update Then after that, it tells how counting is done via, let's say, incrementing or decrementing. So for you guys to appreciate this one, let's have an example. So count is equal to 0. So this is the initial or counter initialization. So the initial value is 0. So while count is less than 5, then this will keep on looping. Okay, or these statements will keep on being executed. Okay, so as you guys can see, from 0 to 4, okay, that is less than 5. So it will loop 5 times, or let's see, where is the result? Okay, or it will execute this one: 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay, so one digit, still one digit per line. Okay, and then it loop 5 times. Okay, starting from 0. Okay, so we have another example right here where n is equal to 10, and then sum is equal to 0, and then I is equal to 1. So instead of doing this 1, you can have the I, or this is a common variable for the start. Okay, or where to start. So is it 1, is it 2, is it 3, and then n here is the last value, or where to stop, or when to stop. Okay, and then sum is just equal to 0. So by default, it's saying that this variable is equal to 0. So we have this condition: while I is less than or equal to n, then sum is equal to sum plus I. So initially, of course, it's 1 to 1 plus 0 is equal to 1. So that is the first value that is being stored in the sum. Okay, so it will keep on doing that 1. So next one is 2. So 2 plus 1, okay, because the previous value of sum is 1. So 2 plus 1 is now equal to 3. So just keep on doing that 1. It's like what's happening here. It's like having the, value of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up to plus 9. Okay, because we have here less than, should be less than or equal to actually we can reach up to 10 since this is or. Okay, so we can have the equal sign. So 10 is equal to 10 is still true, so it will be 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to plus 10. So as a result, plus 9 and then plus 10, so it will give us a result of 55. So the sum is 55. So that's how you use while, okay, and then having these variables right here. So it's like the summation from 1 to 10. Okay, and then break is just a statement in looping. So break is used to exit a for loop or a while loop when a certain condition is met. So we have an example right here. It's count is equal to 0, so that's the starting one, and then while count is less than 10, print count, and then count plus is equal to 1. So it's incrementing by 1. So basically, if you only have this one up to this count plus is equal to 1, so it will loop 10 times from 0 to 9. Okay. However, we have here another if condition. So while it's doing this condition right here, it's also verifying if count is greater than or equal to 5, or once it's already equal to 5, then it will break this loop already. Okay, or it will stop the looping already. So as a result, before reaching the 5, then it will stop the looping. So as an output, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So I hope we're clear with this one. So if this is A, then we only have 0 to 7. Okay, if this is 0, then nothing will happen. It will start right at the beginning. So there is no output for this one. If it's 1, then we only have 0 as an output. Okay, and then of course if this is, let's say, 11, so of course this will never be met since it will only loop from 0 to 9. Okay, so depending on your program or your courses. Yeah, that's how this break works. And then always check indentions. Of course, okay, this is very very important. So you guys already know the importance of indentions from the beginning of our if. Okay, so break statements. So this tells the program to exit for loop when counter is equal to 5, regardless if the for loop condition is still true. So if we have a break, we also have a continuous statement in looping. So continue is to skip the current block and return to the for or while statement. So we have this range of x in here. So it's ranging from 1 to 10. And then we have a condition right here. If x is modulo 2 is equal to 0, then continue, okay, and then print x, okay. So in here, it will skip the this one, okay. If this is true, then it will skip these values right here. So as you can see, 2 divided by 2 is equal to 0, okay, then it will not be part of your output. Similar with 4, similar with 6, similar with 8, okay. But if it's not equal to 0, like for example, 1 divided by 2, so it will give us a value not equal to 0. So this one was displayed. So similar with 3. So 3 divided by 2 is 1 point something. Then it will be displayed since it's not equal to 0. Same with 5, same with 7, same with 9. Okay, so if it's true, it is 1, then it will not be part, okay, of your output. Okay, so instead of breaking, okay, at that certain point, this one will just skip some of the current block. Okay, so this one continuous statement is used to skip the printx instruction when x is even, let's see, because of this modulo. And then if false, then the program will perform printx before looping. Okay, and then for the last one, we have here the nested loop. So a nested loop is a loop that occurs within another loop. Okay, so we have an example right here. Rows is equal to 6, and then for num in range is rows, which is 6, and then for I in range, and then num, and then print if this is, let's see, this range right here is true, then print num, and then comma end, and then we have space string right here, okay, and then print another space, and then we have here the outer for and then the inner for. And then when it comes to explaining this one, we have this code tracing from 1 to 13, okay. So instead of explaining those 1 to 13 on what's happening on why we have this output right here, I think it would be better if I'll just explain this one using an actual example. So this one. So we have here, let's just copy the example here for now. So Control Shift F10. So we'll give us the same output. So from 1 to 5. Okay, 1 to 5 right here. Now if you change this 1 into 10, then it will give us a result from 1 to 9. Okay, as you guys can see right here. Now, this part right here is the space at, or this one right here on every characters. So if I remove that one, then all of them will be sitting next to each other without a space. Okay, so 1 to 9. So let's bring that one back. While this one is the characters at the end of each rows right here. So of course it's blank, so you're not seeing anything. So end of row, specific row. So let's change that one into this string. Okay, so as a result, we now have here 1 and then end specific row, 2 to end of specific row, and so on and so forth. So basically, it's after that specific row, or it's the end of the specific row. Okay, so for row 4, we have that one here. There you go. So it's the end of that line. Okay. So yeah, that's how we use this nested loop. So you can also do, of course, the comma. Okay, you can have different separator. Okay, what else we can use? Probably double quotation or single quotation. So I don't know why double quotation doesn't work. What about single quotation? Yeah, single quotation work. Yeah, it's just a separator. Okay, so that's how a nested loop works. Now, if you guys would like to understand more about this nested loop, okay, just feel free to read this 1 to 13. Okay. Anyway, So that's it for the module 1.1. So just in case that you guys have a question, again, just message me on my Canvas or my Facebook account. So goodbye and see you guys on my next video. Bye bye. Peace out.